Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Morning.
Heather. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Ray. Hey, we're
Good
back.
morning.
Last week we were not on because we had lots of challenges last week. You had a training, Heather. Ray was
Yes.
on his way to meeting a customer, and I had
Yep.
something else happen. So that's a rarity where we just couldn't pull it
Yeah.
together to make it happen. So, but we're here.
Okay.
No, it's
Yep.
good to be
Great.
back.
We'll be back. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we're talking about M&A, divestitures, and we're going to talk about
Yeah.
our ebook that we have that you guys
That's
put
right.
together on this
Yeah.
topic. So super
Yeah.
pumped.
Yeah. We are. I,
Yeah.
I think this is one of the areas that our firm has that we think is a real strength. Is our expertise in not only mergers, acquisitions, but even more so on carve outs and divestitures. So, we're going to be spending a lot of time this summer talking about that and putting out some publications around it. So it's a great topic, and we think it's going to start to second half of the year is going to be a lot more divestitures and carve outs due to the economic situation that we're under right now.
So we
And
believe more of them are going to happen because there will be good value. So companies will be value hunting. Is that why we think that's the case?
I think it's going to be more because companies are starting to assess what they have bought over the last several years, and in some cases, some of the acquisitions that they've made or some of the products where they've grown divisions internally. Some of those things may not fit for the future. They may not be meeting profitability expectations. Uh, and because of that, there may be we think there'll be an acceleration of companies trying to spin off businesses, and I think that plus a lot of the VCs and private equity firms are flush with cash, and so they're out looking for deals. So it's going to be a bit of a combination of companies getting rid of stuff and because it doesn't fit, and then private equity firms with a lot of money, as they say, to use, being able to kind of pick those up.
We would be a great investment if you're a private equity company that has a lot of money. If you want to,
there you
just
go.
saying.
I would
Plug.
agree. I would
I'm just
agree.
saying.
Yeah, we got not only are we low cost, as far as how we operate, but but lots of upside for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And Ray, you and I've talked a lot on mergers and acquisitions. We've put a lot of material together
Hmm.
out there for people that are interested in learning about what we can do. And both you and Jason have been part of M&A in the corporate world. You've been a part of it with Thrive HR and helping our clients and customers. And one aspect that you have found, and I agree, and I'm sure Jason does too, is the due diligence aspect is critical, in the way to ensure that there's nothing, no surprises down the
Yeah.
road. And I would love to kind of
Hmm.
hear both of your thought processes on that, even to include some scenarios where you saw some things that did not go well and how
Hmm.
you recouped, and or a best
Hmm.
practice that you would love to share in that aspect.
Yeah, no. That one of the most important parts of the M&A process is due diligence, and the reason for that is what you're really trying to do in due diligence is identify any issues that are significant enough that will impact the value of the deal. So, an example would be if somebody has got a huge misclassification problem of exempt and non-exempt employees. We've had situations on transactions where we've looked at that, and you know, it could be a 10 or 20 million dollar problem when you do the math,
Yeah.
and if you had to pay 10 or 20 million dollars in back wages, would that impact the valuation of the deal? And many times it would. So those are the kinds of things that you're looking for in due diligence. So it's really critical that it's done very methodically, very with some very clear understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. Number one, and then number two. the other part that you're trying to do is really to understand what you're buying, and get a good sense of, are you buying a stable organization, or are you buying an organization that's got a high level of turnover, and the human capital that you're valuing may not be there. So, those are the kinds of things from a diligence perspective that are critical. Jason, any thoughts there on the diligence piece?
Well, I think you said it correctly. You want to make sure that what you're buying is as it seems. We've been in situations where the founders have said this company's great, the team loves each other, and we're doing all these phenomenal things, and you should spend $1 billion on us. So we go in and we find out that, well, no, actually everybody hates each other. Literally everybody's looking for a job, and nobody likes what the leader's doing, and it's a complete mess. And you have this completely different picture than, of course, what the leader is putting out there, because they want to get their money and they want to get purchased. So, they're putting on their best face. So you have that opportunity to really get in there and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, for me, I think the really important part of working with a firm like us and being able to help you with your merger or divestiture or whatever it is, there's just so many moving parts and there's so many little pieces. Typically, the teams just don't have enough time. They've got their day job, and then to take on all this extra work that you need to do to make a merger or an acquisition really successful, it's really, really hard. And so bringing in somebody that can handle this work and then keep it moving forward and then moving it over to you when it's done, that's worth its weight in gold, quite frankly. And so we've done a lot of that. And so to me, I think that's one of the things that is really great about what we can offer up to our clients.
Yep, so true. And the other thing on the due diligence side, that one of the biggest red flags I would advise folks is, if you are asking for information, and you're not getting it from the acquired company, the company you're acquiring, it's got to be a couple of things going on there. One, they don't have it and they don't want to admit it, and you got to make them comfortable enough to tell you that, because that's important. Or they don't want to share it because it's bad, you know, and you know, and I was involved in a transaction, um, and this was up in Canada, uh, and the organization would not, they had a pending lawsuit, um, for sexual harassment, and they claimed it was settled. Well, you know, when we asked for the information over 5, 6 weeks, they would never provide it. We finally got to the point where we said, we don't get this information, we're not moving forward with the deal. We're just going to delay the close until you get it to us. So finally, they gave us the information. Uh, what basically showed is that one of their key executives was blatantly harassing employees in the U.S. Um, it showed that the internal investigation was not well done. And it showed that the person that was being harassed ended up getting terminated.
Oh,
And so when I shared all this with the executive sponsor of the deal, I basically said, I can't support that this individual be a part of the transaction coming to us. That he should be terminated at close. That was not what the leader wanted to do, and after multiple, you know, highly intense, lots of yelling and screaming by him to me on the deal, I finally said, look, that's fine. I mean, if you're really going to push on this, how would you feel, if we did the deal and guess what? In the morning papers, it was announced, and it was also announced that we acquired this individual who was harassing employees. If that was part of the morning paper. And he said, let me rethink this real quick.
yeah.
Went back, and he basically said, no, you're right. This person cannot be part of the transaction. take them out, make that part of the closing requirements, and we did. And after we closed the deal, the feedback from the employees, they knew what was going on, and they knew this individual was not the kind of person that should be in the organization. So that's an example of how look for red flags, because you've got to really push back hard in certain situations.
Now we have our ebook. I think I'm going to share it so
Yeah.
people can take a little bit of a look at it. And then this ebook is going to be downloadable. Ooh,
Yep.
nicely done,
Yeah,
Heather. I was getting
exactly.
ready to do it, but
Exactly.
you beat me to the punch.
Yeah. So we are making this kind of an ebook available. It has a really good section on due diligence. Uh, this is part of our overall HR M&A playbook. And
It's
again,
not everything, it's just a taste.
it's just a
And
taste.
so if you want the whole process, we're available to talk to
Yeah,
you about that and help you out with your
exactly.
acquisition or your merger or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah, exactly. And and we think that these are some of the key areas for due diligence. But after you do due diligence, there's also integration planning, uh, negotiating executive contracts, getting to a deal close, and part of that is being looking at the stock purchase agreements, uh, and then day one, which is a big celebratory event, and then actually integrating the company into your organization.
Okay,
So there's a
can you talk a little bit about reps and warranties? That's a big thing right now, and
yeah.
people are really interested in that. So talk a few minutes about that.
Yeah, the reps and warranties, there's two ways. Whenever you do a transaction, let's say it's $100 million deal, the company that is purchasing, your company, they're gonna want some of that money held in escrow in case there are any things that come back and are going to be a negative impact to the deal. So an example would be, you said that these contracts were worth $200 million. Well, they're not really worth that much. So there's the valuation for your company is less because of that. Um, there's a pending lawsuit, that ends up costing $100 million or $100,000. Those are the kinds of things that would go against that escrow, those reps and warranties. And what companies are doing now, they're doing it two ways. You're either holding back money, in escrow for to use against any of those reps and warranty violations, or companies are purchasing insurance against reps and warranties. So, you know, so that if there are any reps and warranties or any claims, you go against the insurance policy, not against the escrow. The company gets all of their $100 million, but part of that $100 million they've got to buy an insurance policy, and that's where you go against for any reps and warranty issues. So yeah, so we are very familiar with doing these things both ways. Some of our
Mhm.
clients use traditional escrow pro processes. Other companies are utilizing these insurance programs. They're much more complicated, much more detailed diligence required. Uh, so instead of a you know 5-page due diligence report, it's a 20-page due diligence report that goes to the insurance company. So yeah, so
Mhm.
those are the challenges with reps and warranties.
And we also now have a AI listening and interview tool that we can use for your M&A process.
Hmm.
So we can
Mhm.
basically go in with the AI tool that we utilize, and we can very quickly do some amazing interviews and churn through a significant amount of data before the acquisition and after the acquisition, and we can compare the data, and there's a lot that we can do with this tool. So um, more to come on that when we can tell you specifically
Yeah,
about that tool. But
yeah.
we are able to utilize that, and it's amazing. It can really save an immense amount of time and give you some real time information in terms of how this tool works. So we're really excited to bring it to bear in the M&A space. And
Yeah.
Steven said he couldn't see item 10. It was covered by the logo. Can you pop
Oh,
it back
Yep.
up?
I can do that. Let me just get rid of
yeah.
that and
And
add this.
yeah, and
There
also,
we go.
item 10, payroll. You got to cover payroll, man. That is so important. That that integration uh, between organizations, and when you merge HR systems and you merge payroll, it's got to be totally buttoned up. That's the last thing you want to mess up.
Man, payroll
Uh,
is the gift that gives
yeah,
keeps on giving, and I think we get more calls about payroll issues than
we
basically
do.
any other thing
Yeah,
that
we
we
do.
talk about. But
Yeah,
yeah, payroll is pretty mighty.
yeah,
So yeah, you've got to
yeah,
have your payroll stuff buttoned up
yeah.
really well.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the cool thing about our HR M&A playbook that we've developed.
Excuse
Yes,
me.
yes,
You left something out.
yeah. Go
Our
ahead.
copyrighted proprietary M&A
Exactly.
playbook. Okay.
Yeah, our proprietary M&A playbook. The cool thing is, we have made it, because we're all much more, are somewhat, attention deprived. We want things shorter, easier to consume,
Hmm.
uh, and so our playbook, literally, we can put together an HR M&A playbook of under 20 pages for an
Hmm.
organization that is fully comprehensive from you know the letter of intent through diligence, through integration planning, through integration execution. Along with that, we've got about 16 templates that we've developed, so that
Yes.
it's like, you do it, here's the reporting template, you do it, here's the tools, so it's really
Hmm.
kind of a cool system. And we're also in the middle of developing a similar playbook for divestitures and carve outs. So,
Hmm.
Steven asked, do you utilize standard templates for your analysis? And you answer that question
Immediately.
simultaneously as he
Yes.
asked it. You
I mean,
are
right
like
on.
yeah, we
so a
do. We
savant,
do.
an M&A
Yeah.
savant.
Yeah.
Right on top of it.
Exactly. And the really important part of that when you're in the middle of an M&A transaction is communication. And and we've got a template where we do a weekly check-in. And basically a one pager. Here's what we did this week. Here's what we're going to do next week, and here are the issues. And basically, when those CHROs receive that every Friday, guess what they use at their Monday morning, executive staff meeting? That template.
Yeah, it's a turnkey approach. If you want a
Yeah,
turnkey approach, we can work with you on it.
yeah,
If
exactly.
you want to look at our turnkey approach and then you want to augment, you want it you want some other things that aren't in it, we can do that too. So it's pretty cool. So we're excited about it, and we're really wanting to get it out there and have people consume it and use our services. And then we've got another one that we're going to be talking about next week that we're going to be pushing out, which is going to be AI. I'm sure no one's heard of AI, but we've got an AI process that's another copywritten exclusive process. So that's the other one we're going to talk about. Great
Yep,
minds think alike. Yes, Stephen. This is true. This is
that's
true.
right. That's
And
right.
I think
Yeah.
the templates that we have are just as valuable as the playbook, because you can make everything applicable. It's right there at your fingertips. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's right
Yep.
there and easy to use. And I
Yeah.
think that, I've heard you mention this before, Ray, and others, that once the deal is done, the work does not stop
Hmm.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
the way that we do acquisitions and integrations, we really think that you know, not only do you do the deal, get to close, but then really it's how do you integrate those employees into the organization, making sure they feel welcome, their questions are being answered. We always talk about the what's in it for me. We are very focused on answering the employee question about, what's the impact of this to my benefits? What's the impact to my bonus, to my stock, to my pay? because if you can't answer those questions, all the pretty presentations that marketing does on strategy and vision is out the window. Employees don't care about it if you can't answer. I'm going to the doctor on the day after close. Who's going to cover me? you know,
Hmm.
I've got surgery planned for my child. A week after close. How's that going to be covered? So those are the things that really are important. And we really think we're big on surveying and checking the pulse of organizations as part of this process. We think the this new AI tool is going to be a game changer for
Hmm.
for our processes in our industry. And
Yeah, the AI tool is really fantastic. It's got a great it's got a great front end in terms of how people respond to it, and then the back end is really great. We have Karen Dean Yates who chimed in, and she said a template helps the HR team explain to the business leaders why all these parts are important, especially site visits, culture assessments, etc. Yes, Karen, we totally agree with you.
yep,
And as a HR person, you want to have a streamlined end-to-end process that works, and you just want to be able to have templates that you can basically have at your fingertips so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. There's nothing more frustrating being in an HR organization or in any other organization in the company and having to create something from scratch. It's not a lot of fun.
yep,
Steven says, do you
exactly.
sometimes interview former employees of an organization, check on their experience, attitudes, etc.? Yeah, we totally do that. And this AI tool that we have is going to make that process even simpler and easier in terms of the amount of people that it can talk to. Mitch DeLeon says, will there be a rising number of small deals, roll-ups, and or more global strategic deals? Any thoughts on these trends? If so,
Great
Ray, you want
question.
to take that?
Yeah, I think that there's the amount of activity is going to start to increase even more, um, and a lot of different reasons for that. Economically, organizations are becoming a lot more careful with where they're investing, and then on the other side, there is so much, uh, basically, gunpowder out there, and gunpowder meaning cash that VCs and private equity firms have uh, you know built up and have acquired from investors that need to be utilized in the market. So
Mm.
lots more deals because of that, and I think also, um, a lot of organizations, like you said, um, are really thinking about acquiring companies earlier, in the product development process. Whereas 5 years ago, you didn't do a deal unless there was a product that was tested and there were
Mm.
customers using the product and there was a revenue stream. Now transactions are happening much earlier, you know, maybe in beta testing, after, 18 or 24 months that the company is up and running. So, so folks are getting in, or investors are getting in much earlier. So I think the answer is yes. Earlier stage startups are definitely going to be a target as we go forward.
Heather, you want to click on the one pager?
Absolutely. I was just thinking the same thing. We're all thinking alike today.
Exactly, exactly.
So this one pager gives you just a great overview of what we can do for you and how we can help you out. And this one pager is something that you can just keep at your desk. Should you be part of a M&A and you need some help and you're like, hey, what can these guys do for you? We can do all of this. The other thing is that we're very happy jumping in the middle of a project or jumping in at the end or wherever you need us to insert. So we don't say, "Hey, bring us in from the very beginning," or "We can't help you out." So we've been involved with with M&As at all points in the process, so we can jump in, help you for as much or as little as you need. So
Yeah.
that's super common for us to be able to do.
Yeah, and as an example, we helped with a project at the beginning of the year with an acquisition in Paris, France. Unfortunately, they did not let us travel to Paris, France, to work on the deal. We had to do it remotely, uh, but this was the organization had.
But I did have
Yeah,
escargot for lunch
there you go. We
a couple times. Yeah.
that's right. Just for to get the feel of the
Yes.
transaction. Uh, but in this example, the company completed diligence. They had not closed yet, and then they brought us in, saying, "Oh, we need to integrate this company, and we need some HR support." So they brought us in. We did a compensation assessment of their pay. We did an assessment of all of the employees in the organization. We also did an assessment of their employment contracts. We made changes to their employment contracts, so we had to go in and do addendums to all the contracts to change pay, to change titles, and really help the organization, put this all together very quickly, get the close, and then integrate those employees into the organization. And and one of the things that we did also with that organization is, help them put in a GDPR privacy program, because all of a sudden they became a global employer with employees in the U.S. and employees in France or in Europe. So we help them through that process also. But that's just an example of how we can kind of come in and help. Especially as HR teams are overwhelmed. The last thing you want to do if you're in HR is, guess what? We have open enrollment and year-end planning and performance reviews. Oh, and by the way, let's throw a 200-person acquisition in the middle of all that has to be closed by the end of the
Yes,
year.
because that never happens to HR
No,
teams.
no, no.
Never happens. Okay, so we're at 27 minutes. We're not that entertaining,
Yeah.
I know. But what I'd like to find out is, or give to our audience, is how do they get a hold of this free, wonderful ebook? Heather, any thoughts on how they can download that?
So, one thing you can do, we have our emails scrolling at the bottom for Jason, Ray, and myself. So you can email us directly for a copy, and soon we will have this information posted on our website, along with a bunch of other great material in the regarding other services that we provide. So shoot us an email, let us know what information you'd like, and we can get that to you and share it.
Hold on one second. Steven has another question. We love questions. This seems to imply that you also develop process flows and are process reengineering. Is this accurate? Oh boy, is that ever accurate? We do a lot of that work, Steven. So we can assist you, or we have done that work. So we're all over that.
Yeah, we have. We as an example, for a spin out from a very large computer company. This company was about 3,000 employees, spun out from the larger company. We actually helped them put in place their performance review process within 6 weeks from start, integrated with Workday. We also helped them also put in place their global time and attendance program, and we also did a end-to-end review of all of their HR policies and processes, developed a gap analysis and also a roadmap, and filled that roadmap over 6 months to make sure that they had all those policies in place. So we do this kind of work on a regular basis, and we can turn that around quickly.
Even though Workday says not to do it, I'm going to say it. We're rock stars. Even though Workday's commercial says don't do it, we are rock stars. All right, sounds good. Well, and then when we have the ebook online, and it should be hopefully, oh my gosh, with like 12, the ebook should be online and available by the end of the week, and so we'll post about that. But going forward, every ebook that we talk to you about will be available on our website to download. But just send us an email right now to Thrive at Thrive HR Consulting, and we'll send you the free ebook, because we're just good like that.
Yeah, and also just another quick plug for an organization. If you're interested in HR M&A, there's an organization called the HR M&A Roundtable. It's a great group. It's free to join. We do, monthly, learning sessions with with participants, and then we're also going to be, helping and talking at their annual conference, which will be July 18th and 19th, and it's going to be a virtual conference. So, for all you folks that are interested in M&A, join, look up the HR M&A Roundtable either on LinkedIn or on their website. A great free resource.
Well, and we're gonna just say one thing. I'm gonna tease with it. I know I shouldn't tease, but I'm gonna put a teaser out there. We're actually going to be starting a dedicated HR M&A mentoring program. So this will bring in people like Ray and others who are very well versed in this, and it will be over a 6-month period, and it will be an in-depth discussion about how to improve, up level, and what's going on in the world of M&A. It's going to be a fantastic session, and we're looking forward to announcing that soon. But that's coming.
Yes, that's
All
exciting.
right. Anything else? Have I missed anything?
No, only other thing I was going to mention is if you happen to be a SHRM member, you can also see and download a lot of our information on the SHRM directory. So just check us out there as well.
Yeah, we're there for sure. And our website, which will have all this stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. That was fantastic. Thanks for all the questions. We love it. And thanks for dialing in, or I keep saying dialing in. It's not a show. It's logging in or whatever it's called now, or watching. Joining. Yeah, thanks for joining in.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.